you've been feeling the call to write a book, it is no accident. Your book is needed in the world, so let's make it happen. I'm Nicola Humber, and this is the Unbound Writers Club. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Unbound Writers Club. Today I am joined by someone very special. I mean, all my guests on the podcast are special, but this conversation was, such a moment. So today I am speaking with the super magical Lizzie Cantopher. So Lizzie's first book, The Nightingale Who Lost Her Song, is out in the world now. And this is a book like no other that we've published at the Unbound Press. We love it when we get a book that is a bit different. It is the most gorgeous story. Well, it's described as an enchanting tale of friendship and resilience. And it's the most beautiful kind of storybook with stunning illustrations and Lizzie's super powerful words. I kind of just want to zip it so that we can dive into the conversation and hear about Lizzie's experience of bringing this story through, having the courage to birth it into the world now, and what it means to her. So without further ado, I am going to zip it and introduce you to the gorgeous Lizzie Cantopher. So, Lizzie, welcome to the Unbound Writers Club.
Hello.
So excited for you to be here. I can see your book up behind you on the shelf, which I am loving. And I'm going to ask a question that I often ask at the beginning of these conversations, which is, what in particular do you feel makes you an unbound writer? Like, is there something in particular that you feel you're doing differently when you're writing, when you were working on your book? Is there something that you've had to kind of unbind from in order to birth this book into the world?
Oh, well, definitely, because I couldn't have written it as such, but I could see it because I saw the conversation, I could write it. And then when I had a conversation with you and sent you the papers, you understood that and you felt it. So it felt correct that this was coming through the right channel. And that's what I feel is different about Unbound, is that it literally is unbound. I didn't feel bound by anything. I felt free to write what was in my head.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Gorgeous, gorgeous. And, you know, of course, like, you were attracted to the Unbound Press because you are so unbound yourself. And I felt that so much from the first time that we connected.
I know, we did.
Absolutely, absolutely. So tell us the story of the book and how you felt the call initially to write The Nightingale Who Lost Her Song.
Yes, we lost a song. Okay, so for years I wanted to write about me because I felt so trapped inside me with the educational things. So I'd found some people, some writers that I went to a group, and they said, what about writing your story? So I actually started to write about me when I was a little girl and how it was and it wasn't so good, and that felt really heavy. And would people really want to write this? And not being a writer, this is going to be hard. Then one day I literally sat at the table, we were going away, and I said to my partner, I can't come, something is in my head. And so she went away. I sat down, and for 3 hours, I had a vision. I literally could see an animated show, if you like, in my head with a conversation. I grabbed my journal, which I've been doing journals for years for myself, and wrote for 3 hours without going to the loo, without having a coffee, which is unheard of, and without going outside for 3 hours, and wrote the conversation. When I finished it, I literally phoned up a friend and said, would she have a look at it? She's a school teacher, she knows about things. Would she put the punctuation in? And I literally put all the punctuation at the end of an email and sent it to her. I said, could you put that in the right order? Because I can't. And when it came back, I said, don't change anything. She literally put the punctuation in and it came back. And then I showed a friend of mine who is a published author, and she said, you need to get this out there. And
Mm.
that's when we found you. And I sent it to you. You had a look at it. And you said that it touched the little Nicola as well as the older Nicola. And something happened. And I thought, there's a mission now. This story has to go out. And that's how The Nightingale Who Lost a Song came about. It was literally, I would say, downloaded into my head, because I am not capable of writing that myself without internal help, if you like, if that
Well,
makes sense.
it really does. It really does. And also because the writers that we work with at the Unbound Press and, I work with very often are like, I'm channeling this. It came through me. And
Yes,
yeah, completely get that. And also, there's a reason why this particular story came through you. It couldn't have come through anyone else,
no,
Lizzie. So I think sometimes we can feel like, oh, this is, it's not quite mine. It just came through me. But this is so very
yes.
much yours. Like I said, it couldn't have come through anyone else. And it's like so special that like you've
I
allowed this story to come through.
Yes, I even asked myself, why a nightingale? Why a nightingale
Mm,
bird? Well, of course, I was a nurse for years.
yes.
So, of course, in my psyche, and obviously, you know, Florence Nightingale was my heroine. And of course, I hadn't thought of it, but it's there. And so, of course, it's a nightingale. And so it is my story. But I think actually, Nicola, I think it's other people's story as well. It's not just one. There's elements of and all the different characters that are in there could be all the different aspects of myself or of these people that I've met on my way that have helped me to get to this point. So the story can be for children, it can be for adults. It doesn't matter. It's a story of truth and how to conquer, honestly, the impossible. Because what you've done to help me is you've actually allowed the impossible to become possible. And that is absolutely, perfection. I love that, what you've done there. It is beautiful.
Well, we've done it together, Lizzie.
We
I'm
have,
always
yes,
gonna,
yes, yes, yes.
we
But I could imagine going to lots of publishers and them saying, no, 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 no. I mean, I've heard this from my friend, who does do that,
yeah.
and she has to go. And so, yes, because it's just another story. But actually, it's not. It's not. It's all of our story. And it's just that I'm telling it.
Yeah.
And it's everything that's in there of how to help each other and how to be strong enough, how to be brave enough to ask for help when we really, I mean, I'm 68 and I'm only just asking for help. And that's not fair on the other people. They need to ask. And and
Absolutely.
that I want to be there to help them. That's what
Oh,
I'd like to do. Yeah.
amazing, amazing. And it's so, so resonant, like the story, the Nightingale Who Lost Her Song. Like this is so resonant with what we're doing at the Unbound Press. And what I'm so passionate about is like, helping women in particular to find their voices, to trust their voices, to share their voices. So I'm just so grateful that you found us, Lizzie. And we were talking before we hit record about the timing and how,
Yeah.
you've thought about writing before and maybe a different kind of story, a different kind of book.
Yes.
But it actually feels like the timing is perfect for
Yeah.
this one.
Yes.
Say some more about that.
Yes, because if I think about it, I don't think it would have been heard 10 years ago, 20 years, definitely not. People weren't as aware, but because there's so much diversity now in all different areas. And it's like, I was thinking to myself, it's not actually the people that are broken. I actually don't feel broken.
Mm,
I feel I'm wired very differently because I excel in other things.
yeah.
So I actually can learn very well, but it's how I learn and it's how it's shown me. So I want to be able to show people that if we're educated in a different way, not just this, I call it this linear way. I may be wrong, but that's what I call it. Just this one sort of, for me, if you ask me, I mean, I won't be able to do it now, but if you were to say, oh, tell me some lines out of some films, I'd probably tell you all of it. I'm one of those irritating people. When I go to watch a film, I'm actually saying the next line because I remember it, but I can't remember my kid's name because it goes blank.
Mm,
So put everything on the TV. If I'd been taught about TV or the wildlife programs, I know all about the wildlife and everything because I've seen it. My first language is visual. My
mm.
first language is not English. And a friend of mine told me this. And she said, Lizzie, you are visual. Everything is visual for you. And it's so true. I have
Yeah.
this photographic memory, but not for words. Any words in my mind, I can't see. I actually can't see them. So it has to be either spoken or visual.
That's so interesting. That's so interesting. Well,
Yeah.
let's talk about the visuals for the book then, because obviously your
Okay.
words are
Yeah.
like such an important aspect of it, but the illustrations in the book are
Yes.
so beautiful. So
Oh,
how did you, I mean, did you have a really clear sense of how you wanted the illustrations to look, or
yeah.
was that more of a collaboration?
No, you've done it. You've done what was in my head. And
Hmm.
I would say the pictures are almost what I saw, but not quite.
Hmm.
But we'd just been over to Venice in December, and then my partner said, do you fancy going to Venice again? We went back over again in March. There's no need. But there was an illustrator there. We were just going to see how some masks were done. And we went into a shop, and the mask maker had a picture on the wall of a redhead. Now, 2, 3 years ago, I had red hair. And I mean, obviously, I dyed it as well because it was going grey. But on the wall is a picture. And I said, could I just stop you? That picture, it's me. And she said, oh, she said, I have to draw for you. I want to be an illustrator. And it's like, oh my God. The thing is, yeah, so I said to her, I've got this story and I'm looking for an illustrator. She said, I don't want to be a mask maker. I want to be an illustrator. So I asked her if she would draw me the pictures that were in my head. So I told her about them and she did them. And that's how that came about. It was pure magic. We weren't even meant to go back to Venice. It was just magical.
Lizzie, I didn't know that story, the
Yeah,
background. I'm like, wow. And how
yeah.
interesting that she said, I don't want to be a mask maker anymore.
No,
Obviously, it's a
it was,
different kind of mask, but like, the whole idea of wearing a mask and like not
yes,
allowing ourselves to be seen. And,
yes.
it just like feels, yeah, like you say, like pure magic. I love that. Love that so
Absolutely,
much.
yes. And then when I had the geese that are in the book, in the story, we went back over again a few months later, and I said, I've got some geese that have to come in. And I said, oh my God, you've just drawn them. And she'd just drawn them and put them on the wall. And I said, that is the geese. That's the geese. Could I have the geese? And she said, yes. And they're the ones that are in the book now.
I
And
love
it's
it.
love it. I just love that. It's just brilliant.
This is
Uh,
what happens, isn't it? When we follow the
yes,
flow and like trust, like just
yes.
trust what we feel called to, and you know,
It
you,
just hasn't been hard work. It just has not been hard work. It really does feel like it's purely a key for me to open the door for the next chapter of my life. And I know it's for writing. I'm not a brilliant writer, but I am a storyteller. And I've
mm,
spent all my life saying things and the things that I've done. So that's what I'm going to do. But I would really love to help other people to sort of move along in their life and show them that it actually is okay to be different, but to say we're different and that we need help.
yeah,
And
Yeah.
that's the one thing I've never been allowed to, I've never allowed myself, and I've never been allowed. I've only ever been told I'm stupid, keep quiet. And that's so sad. We mustn't do that,
No,
you know.
absolutely. Makes me angry because it's no,
I know,
you
I
know,
know, I know.
it's the system, isn't it? The system that's wrong,
Yes.
like you say. Are there any particular like fears or doubts that have come up for you during the process, Lizzie?
Oh
Or
my gosh,
yeah.
yes.
Okay.
Yes, yes. The last, because I knew the book was coming, once the girls had said it's on its way now and we're just doing the final bits, I had so much self-doubt. I mean, who did I think I was? You're just some C-class kid from some dreadful school. Who do you think you are? Honestly, Lizzie, get a life. And it's like, oh God, that's a bit harsh. I mean, I'm a good person. That's a bit harsh. And it's like, no one wants to see this. And the gremlins were coming. So what I did is I actually went outside, took my shoes off and said, no, no, no more. I'm going to stand in this. Not everyone will like this book. Not everybody will understand it. But I do. And for me, it is part of my going forward. And it is me being able to say, but this is part of me.
Mm,
And this is who I am. And
yeah.
I'm going to be proud of that. So it has made me, it did bring up the old stuff. And I just thought, gosh, I had no idea I buried that so deep. That the bit I didn't understand is how adults, the teachers, and not all teachers are this. My daughter was a teacher, and I've got friends who are teachers, brilliant.
Mm,
But how this generation of teachers, I mean, I'm 68, so it was a long time ago. These people could tell a 5-year old how stupid she was
oh my God.
forever. She's going to believe you in a minute if you keep telling her that. So try and find a different way. And that's what I did with my son. As soon as I saw something wasn't right, I got him into a dyslexic school. He went off to university, and both my children with their diversities, they cracked on and believed in themselves because I did.
Wow.
And that's what we want, is we want to be able to believe in the good parts that children do. We don't all have to be academics.
Not at all. The world would be a very boring place if that was the
I know, I know.
case. Yeah,
Absolutely.
a lot of the work that kind of we do in the unbound
Who's going to tell
community.
the stories?
I know it's like unbinding from the academic writing because it's so. I mean, it has its place, but
Yeah,
it's not entertaining. It's not engaging.
there's
uh,
know that.
Lizzie, if someone's listening and they are feeling the call in some way to write a book, to tell their story, but have been doubting themselves, maybe they were told at school that, they weren't good enough, they were stupid, or they picked up that message. What advice would you give to somebody, like as a first step, somebody who was just starting out on this journey?
What I would say to that person is feel it, feel that fear.
Mm,
And is that your truth, or was that somebody else's
mm,
lie? If you really think you're not very good, go and get some help and find out how good you are. But if it's because somebody else has not been very nice to you for whatever reason, and you do feel you could do it, number one, phone you and send your manuscript. You'll deal with it. You'll deal with it. And number two is honestly believe that you might be able to do something. I mean, I think that's what I would say, because
mm,
it's not about being a bestseller. It's about being your truth. That's all that it is for me. Is I actually for the first, oh don't, this will make me cry.
mm.
First time in my life, I have felt like Lizzie. I have felt like me. And I was 5 when I last felt like that. And that's too long. And so one of the things I hate is liars. I hate them. And that's because I've had to lie about who I really am. And that's not fair. And I would love if somebody else saw this or heard this and said, no, she's right. No, I don't believe that person's telling the truth. I'm going to see for myself. And that's what I'm doing. I'm seeing for myself And for me, when you said, "Oh, there might be something in this," you didn't want to say, "Oh, this is going to be a bestseller. We're all going to make lots of money." You've never said anything like that. You said, "Oh, this has touched us. This has touched me. Let's just ride on that and just help each other on that." Because we shouldn't have to live in these cages. We shouldn't. It's too long. We're good people and we want to spread the joy,
Oh,
don't we?
Lizzie, you've got me now. We've both got tears.
So sorry.
No, please don't apologize. Please don't, because, this is why your book resonated with me so much the first time I read it, because, I had similar experiences when I was growing up, and it took me a long time to come to a place where I trusted my own voice and, would allow myself to write and share it. And it makes me sad and angry that
Yeah,
people have to get to an age like it's amazing that you're feeling yourself now, like you're feeling like you, but
yeah,
at 60, I mean, like we say, the timing is always perfect, but
yeah,
let's get your book into the hands of people and children as early as possible so that they can
yeah.
really like
Yeah.
hear this message. I'm so grateful that you wrote this book and that we connected and that you've allowed yourself to follow the steps to birth it into the world.
And I think you've let me. You've been so gentle, and you've allowed me to just move in this. You haven't dictated anything, and the team that you have is incredible. To just move and flow. How you're feeling? How's that? And you haven't put any pressure on me at all. And it's just been a joy, I have to say. It has been an absolute joy. And if anything pops back into my head, you know where I'm coming. I'm coming straight in.
You're not getting away now, Lizzie. You're in. Oh,
I love that.
I'm
I love
so
that.
grateful that you are part of the Unbound Press family and for your beautiful book to be released into the world. Like I said, when we first kind of hopped onto Zoom today, like this is the beginning, and
Yeah.
I'm really, really excited to see
Oh,
where this leads next. We will make sure in the show notes that, there's links to the book. And if people want to connect with you, Lizzie, what's the best way for them to do that if they've
I've got a website now that's all up and running, so they can click on there and ask questions on there or anything, or they'll come to you because you'll be up on there as well. Yes.
and we'll always point people in your direction if they want to
Yeah.
connect,
Yes.
but we'll
Yeah.
make sure your website is in the show notes as well so people can find that easily. Amazing. Thank you so much,
Thank you so
Lizzie.
much. Oh, bless you. Thank you.